All right, my beautiful people, man, give me just a second. I am trying to get everything set up with, I guess, Instagram. Yep, and then also Facebook. So we'll do this. Yep. Let's see if we can work it. All right, got Instagram up. All right, my beautiful people, man. What's going on? What's going on? All right, see Prince is in the house. Thanks so much for joining. Oops. See how this works. All right, looks like we're good to go here. Got the stream going on there. All right, guys, man. Thanks so much for joining, man. While you guys are joining, let us know where you're connecting from, what city, what state, what country. We're going live here tonight, trying to get it all in with Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. I think I got it going. So hopefully we're ready to go. This New Black Wall Street Book Club tonight. Our main topic is a question: will you do something special? So we're just making sure that we're all lined up to do that. Hopefully this works, and we'll keep it going, man. How you guys have had a terrific Tuesday? What's going on? How are you? Thanks so much for joining. Hope you guys are ready to rock and roll. Just giving Instagram and Facebook an opportunity, a little bit of time to make sure that they know. So it didn't go live on Facebook. Okay, well, whatever. Giving it a little bit of time, let them know that we are here, and then we'll get this thing cracker like an eye cares is in the house. Steady making moves is in the house. Let us know where you're connecting from, what city, what state you are connecting from, and we'll get this thing going here shortly. All right, just checking a couple more things. I thought it was okay. I thought I was gonna go stream live to Facebook, but it didn't. So, oh well, we tried. Greenville, South Carolina, man, that's my second home, man. Greenville, South Carolina, that's my second home. I see that. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so it didn't go live. All right, cool. Mobile, Alabama is in the house, man. Mobile, I've been there. I've been to Saraland and Mobile before. So this Southeast is representing here tonight on the New Black Wall Street Book Club. So I guess Facebook don't want to play with us tonight. So okay, I didn't work the way I thought it was going to work, but we here nonetheless. So we're gonna get this thing crack-a-lacking, guys. We're on Instagram and also YouTube. Facebook, I had to catch up. It's time to get this show on the road, guys. New Black Wall Street Book Club. Mr. DJ, hit the music.
New Black Wall Street Book Club. Evan Jefferson, brother, much love. Educating, elevating, because in knowledge is the power and we'll never give it up. Literature is for the masses. Where to put your money down, now how to watch your assets. Yeah, uplifting others is a passion. My brother Evan, he will turn it into action. New Black Wall Street Book Club. You should come read with us. Yeah, we comprehend and discuss. If we all just come together, there's no limit for us. Here comes your host, New Black Wall Street. Evan, take it away. New Black Wall Street Book Club.
All right, my beautiful people, man. Thanks so much for joining us here tonight on the New Black Wall Street Book Club, where Black folk do read. If you put in a book, we absolutely will find it. I'm your host, ERGJ, your certified financial educator, CEO of ERGJ Enterprises, ERGJ Black Bazaar, and international best-selling author of the book, The Black Billionaires Club. That's right. It's a book. It's a study of Black wealth. It's a study of the 12 richest Black people in the world today and how they built their wealth. And I just truly believe that if you want to be wealthy, that's a big if, by the way. But if you decide that's something that you want to do, I recommend that you study wealthy people. Well, you can begin that study with that book. And you can find out what the 12 richest Black people in the world have done to build wealth. And once you learn from them, you can go out and start to do it on your own. All right, so you can pick that book up by simply going to the website www.theblackbillionairesclub.com, www.theblackbillionairesclub.com. You'll find that link in the description above or below. Now, before we get into what we're going to talk about today, I do want to let you guys know that we're almost done with our main text, which is What Makes You Great Great. We'll be moving into our next offering from author Shamari Wills, and that book is called Black Fortunes. Black Fortunes is going to be the next book on tap. This book is a study, is the story of the first 6 African Americans who escaped slavery and became millionaires. Okay, the first 6 African Americans who escaped slavery and became millionaires. And I think this book is significant, although I haven't read it yet. It's significant because there are many of us still today trying to escape slavery, whether that be financial slavery or mental slavery or emotional slavery. And we're looking to have success once we escape slavery, right? So I think this is going to be a very timely book as we are closing the year. We're going to finish strong, and we'll learn from history, the wisdom of the ages, and then we'll apply that into our life. So Black Fortune is going to be our next book up. I think we'll be getting started in roughly 2 weeks, okay? So you got 2 weeks, pick up the book or just follow along with us here on New Black Wall Street Book Club. Hello to you, YouTube. Thanks so much for joining. Hello to you, Instagram, and also Facebook, hopefully as well. We're going to get started tonight, guys, with our affirmation appetizer, which comes out of the Daily Motivations for African American Success by Mr. Dennis P. Kimbro. Daily Motivations for African American Success by Mr. Dennis P. Kimbro. And today's title is Finding Your Key. Everybody put in the comments on my key. Finding your key, right? Finding your key. And today's quote of the day. Our quote of the day comes from Malcolm Jamal Warner, who was the actor. You guys probably remember him from the Cosby Show. He might have been on Living Single or whatever. No, not Living Single. I don't know what came on after that. The college thing. I'm not sure. Malcolm Jamal Warner from the Cosby Show. He says this, and I quote, "The best way to develop any career is heart first. The best way to develop any career is heart first." And here's our passage of the day. Here's the meat of what we're going to be discussing in our daily motivation. Let's read. During a recent orientation at Clark Atlanta School of Business, I, the author Dennis P. Kimbro, was introduced to a student who had quit college several years ago to try his hand in investment banking. The young man failed miserably and finally had to face up to the fact that he wasn't going to succeed in his chosen field. In an effort to find direction, he went back to school. One night during a party, he had an interesting conversation with a young co-ed majoring in fashion design. As the fashion major talked, the former financial planner found himself completely engaged. As a result of that evening, he enrolled in several fashion merchandising courses, even though he had never given a thought to the clothing business. Completely enthused, he was like a bird released from a cage. He immediately set a goal to launch a custom t-shirt business. This story shows the importance of giving yourself a chance. Everybody put in the comments, so give myself a chance. It shows the importance of giving yourself a chance to discover the type of work that is right for you. It's giving yourself a chance to discover the type of work that is right for you. How many guys have finally discovered the type of work that's right for you? And then ask yourself, how long did that take to finally discover, as you've given yourself years to figure it out? If you like your work, you'll succeed. People who work at jobs they don't like are unsuccessful. Millions of people go through the life without being turned on by what they do. They never find the key to the right field, the field that could offer them a career of interest, a challenge, and rich rewards. It's never too late. Everybody putting comments low. It's never too late. It's never too late to get into the field that's right for you. And there is a field that is right for you. You'll find the key when you begin to chase the dreams in your heart. You'll find the key when you begin to chase the dreams in your heart. Now, here's today's affirmation of the day. Here's what you want to allow to take root into your heart, your subconscious, and then you can grow and develop this thing by repeating it over and over and over again until it brings forth a harvest into your life. Repeat after me. I will concentrate on the field that I love. I will match my interests with my career. Again, repeat after me. I will concentrate on the field that I love. I will match my interests with my career. Let's do it one more time, guys. This affirmation is powerful. Let's do it again, this time for the people in the back. And this time, say it with some conviction. Say it like you mean it. Repeat after me. I will concentrate on the field that I love. I will match my interests with my career. See, the key thing I believe in this is that, guys, we say the word career, and inside of that word career is care. That's you matching your interests. That's the love that you have for whatever field that is. In the comments below, if you have figured out that thing for you, in the comments below, tell us the field that you love, the field that you care about, the field that you have matched your interest in with what you love to do. What's that for you? What's your career? What's your career? Daily Motivations for African American Success by Mr. Dennis B. Kimbro. Daily Motivations for African American Success, finding your key. And of course, we're talking about your key to success. Well, guys, that was our affirmation appetizer. We're going to head right into the meat of what we're going to be discussing tonight. Is we're talking about will you do something special, which is a subsection that's coming out of the book, What Makes the Great Great. In the book, What Makes the Great Great, we are in chapter 9. And chapter 9 is the greatest story ever told, leaving a legacy. So we're discussing what it takes to leave a legacy. And so we'll be going through about 4 different subsections in chapter 9. I call this 9.3. We're in the third phase of chapter 9. Of course, you can pick up previous episodes by following our podcast, which is across all platforms from Google to Apple. You'll find it under New Black Wall Street Book Club. So if you want to catch up, you missed some episodes, you can do that there. Of course, we're here on YouTube. We have been on Facebook and we're on Instagram as well. So you can catch us there as well. So let's get right into this thing here tonight, guys. The meat of what we're discussing here tonight. What will you do something special? Our first subsection, as we're talking about leaving a legacy, tonight is he shares a special message with his students. He shares a special message with his students. A special message. Let's get it. In the fall of 1932, Howard Thurman was offered a teaching post in the School of Religion at Howard University, a position he'd held for several years. Dr. Thurman had a genius for teaching and was widely recognized as one of the nation's outstanding educators. In 1953, Life magazine listed him as one of the 12 greatest preachers of the 20th century. Today, his words still have the power to command and inspire. And in these anxious times, when many have lost faith in the future and in their own abilities, his message is perhaps more comforting than ever. Thousands of young men and women have came under his influence. Many went on to achieve honors and distinction in their adult lives. He sowed the seeds that breed generations of activists who tore down ancient walls of oppression. Times have changed enormously in the intervening years, and Dr. Thurman has since passed away. But he left us a rich legacy that is as vibrant and alive today as it was more than 60 years ago. Ironically, all of his lectures in the dim old Rankin Chapel of the District of Columbia campus, his greatest lessons is known only by a few. What is the greatest possession that one can claim? Dr. Thurman probed his philosophy students, and after brief deliberation, one of his prized pupils answered, faith. Nothing is more important than faith to God. Thurman said nothing as he searched the class for another answer. I know, a young man said as he thumbed through a book. It's got to be the kind and gentle heart. You said so yourself. What this world needs is more compassion. Health, another classmate shot back. Without your health, you have nothing. And still another hand rose in the back of the class. How about compassion? Professor Thurman. I would hate to live in this world alone. Everyone needs a friend. I disagree. Still another rejected. Without money, you have nothing. Dr. Thurman strolled his aisles and remained quiet. Sensing his consternation, the students fell silent. He grew visibly upset and decided not to push the issue any further. With no one now bold enough to offer a solution, Thurman asked the class to imagine a world void of dreamers. To drive home his point, he then took the remaining moments of class time to share one of his many life experiences. Dreamers. This is interesting, people. He's saying, hey, all these people seem like they had good answers. but he said, hey, what about the dreamers? And here's his story. See, I was born in Dayton, Florida, he began, leaning against the desk. Dayton was a small town except in the winter when such notables as the Rockefellers and the Gambles came south for the season. The city was completely segregated and providing no schooling for colored children beyond the 7th grade. Because of my hunger to learn and grow, the principal at the colored elementary school offered to tutor me using 8th grade lessons. This was my chance to break free, and I was determined to make the most of it. A short period later, I passed an 8th grade examination and was given permission to attend high school, nearly 100 miles away. Thurman continued his story. His students perched on the edge of their seats. My parents were very poor. Nonetheless, they managed to enroll me in a church-supported high school in Jacksonville, one of only 3 that Negroes could attend in the entire state. There, I lived with a cousin, working at night to pay for my room and board. My plan to finish high school and eventually go to college was nearly derailed. Before boarding the train to Jacksonville, I had packed an old borrowed trunk with no locks or handles, roped it securely, and said my goodbyes. The clerk at the railroad station refused to accept my luggage as baggage. I was forced to ship it as freight at an additional charge, but having spent my last dollar for a ticket, I cried in frustration on the station steps. And I would have remained there if it weren't for the warm gesture of a complete stranger. A black man dressed in overalls asked me what was wrong. When I told him of my dilemma, he stepped up to the ticket counter, paid the freight charge, and handed me the receipt. He said, if you're trying to get out of this damn town to get an education, the least I can do is help you. Then without another word, he disappeared. I never learned the man's name, nor did I ever see him again. This complete stranger helped shape my life. After several thought-provoking moments, Dr. Thurman looked into the students' questioning eyes and moved to the heart of the issue. He closed with these words. There should be something in a person's life greater than his vocation, more grand than material possessions, or wealth, higher than genius, more enduring than fame. Here lies your greatest challenge as well as your most compelling duty. Whoever uplifts civilization is rich, though he die penniless, and future generations will erect his monument. No matter who you are, no matter the odds, regardless of what lies in your path, you must leave your mark. Everybody put in the console, leave my mark. You must leave your mark. You must tell future generations that you were here. Howard Thurman was correct. There exists within each of us a longing to leave our mark. Some proof that we were indeed here. We need to know that our lives were important, that somehow our being mattered. Our legacy of achievement has value far beyond any monetary figure. It ennobles the human condition by demonstrating the power of the human spirit to overcome tribulations in the pursuit of a dream. And today, there are thousands of men and women whose lives stand as examples to those who seek to be successful. Whether working for ourselves or employed by others, each of us has a contribution that only we can make. The key is for us to find our own path, our purpose for living, and to follow it. It doesn't matter whether we possess the genius of a Howard Thurman or a mere hope for the future, like that stranger who decided to make a difference. Each has made a contribution to humanity and deserves to be admired. But beyond admiration lies respect. Both are models for what we seek, to create something of value, to accomplish something worthwhile. We can attempt to stifle this innate human desire, but we cannot escape it. As humans, we are distinguished and defined by it. Force him to shine your shoes and he becomes a James Brown. Place her in a wheelchair and she becomes Barbara Jordan. Confine him to a prison and I'll show you a Nelson Mandela. Spit in his face and you have a Marcus Garvey. Tell her she can't write and I'll show you an Alice Walker. Tell her she can't lead and she becomes Myrtle Evers. Blind him and he becomes Stevie Wonder. Rape her and she turns into an Oprah Winfrey. Disobey his orders and I'll show you a Colin Powell. Conceal his history and he becomes an Alex Haley. Write him off as another fatherless black male and he turns into a Ben Carson. And deny them an adequate education and they become an Osceola McCarty and a Howard Thurman. Now, my beautiful kings and queens, I guess that begs to ask this question. Have you been written off in your past? And you turned whatever it is that they said about you into something great, and you are currently developing or working on leaving your mark. The same way that Oprah Winfrey is currently working on hers. The same way that a Ben Carson or Howard Thurman or Nelson Mandela worked on leaving their mark. See, I think this goes to the semblance or the understanding or the idea or the concept that it's not about where you start, but how you finish. It's not about how you start. I mean, it could have started ugly. I mean, it could have started all types of ways. But how you finish. It's not about the hand that you get dealt. It's about how you play it. Leave your mark. Mr. Howard Thurman shared a special message with his students. A special message with his students. Yes, you too can make a difference. That's right. You too can make a difference. On September 2nd, 1992, shortly after the Los Angeles riots that followed the Rodney King jury verdict, Crenshaw High School students of all races came together to discuss how they could restore their ravaged community. At first, the idea was simple: to create a community garden that would bring life back to one of the city's most battered neighborhoods while offering the students hands-on science experience. They planted flowers, herbs, squash, collard greens, and other vegetables. A colorful mural soon appeared on the high school's back wall with a brown hand reaching toward a white one. In the middle of South Central LA, an oasis bloomed. The students donated some of the produce to needy families and sold the rest at local farmers markets. But they also realized that the garden was more about simply feeding the needy. It was about ownership, business ownership. Together with science teacher Tammy Bird and volunteer business consultant Melinda McMullen, the students set up shop. They called their struggling enterprise Food from the Hood. Food from the Hood. But it wasn't easy. The school had neither a strong science program nor resources to spare. Brimming with enthusiasm, Bird, a biology teacher, and the school's volleyball coach, relinquished her coaching duties to devote more time to the project. McMullen, a former public relations executive, had never been to the inner city. After viewing the garden firsthand, she recalled thinking to herself, the rides weren't about gardening. They were about economics. She suggested that the students sell the produce to develop a scholarship fund, but after the first year, they had netted only $600. To be successful, McMullen shared, we knew the students had to raise cash. We wanted to empower them by giving each a stake in the results of their efforts. That's when the group decided on the next logical extension. Since the garden was full of lettuce and herbs, why not make the stuff that goes on top? Besides, they thought, if actor Paul Newman could market a salad dressing with profits going to more than 400 charities worldwide, why couldn't Food from the Hood sell a dressing that helps kids help themselves? Bent on making a contribution, everyone played a role. Students worked in the garden, after school, during free periods, and on weekends. Duties were divided and assigned. No task was too menial. Some answered the phone, some wrote copy and prepared promotional materials. Others filed papers in the company's makeshift school office, which until recently was a science lab. The remaining owners beat the pavement, handing out samples and pitching their product at neighborhood stores. Every aspect of the business, including all company-related decisions, from weeding the garden to producing labels, was handled by the students. And their ideas kept sprouting. Wow. So this is after, what's going on, Wakita? This is after the Rodney King riots, right? That happened after that. Students gathered together at this high school and decided they were going to do something, right? They were going to do what they could. And we're talking about, will you do something, right? So they decided they were going to do something. And they're doing a community garden. They started out not having much success, but they kept going. And they kept working on new ideas to help make their project a success. And it seems like they want to do something with scholarships. They also want to reap in some of the rewards from what they sell, which I think makes sense as well. And so they are working now with some Ms. McMullen, who's a public relations executive, to help them get this thing on track. Wow, this is cool. You too can make a difference. So even the students are like, yeah, we can make a difference, and we're going to do what we can to make a difference. And to think it all started with a patch of land. It all started with a patch of land. So for 6 months, Bird's biology class tested various recipes. They literally concocted hundreds of formulas that were sent to a food chemist for further analysis. Meanwhile, their efforts began to attract high-profile support. Norris Bernstein, a wily entrepreneur and founder of Bernstein Salad Dressings, provided marketing and distribution advice. The Long Beach native said he had been searching for a way to make a contribution after disturbance. When I heard about the Food from the Hood, I knew this was my way to get involved. Next, a minority-owned investment banking firm, Luther Smith & Small, helped the young owners draft a business plan and nail down financial projections. Under the leadership of Cy Hare, a senior vice president, the students authored a plan that was designed to generate enough profit to support each owner in his or her quest for a college education. The final pieces of the project were set in place when the kids from Crenshaw met with grocery executives and a food broker who offered tips on shelf space and market segmentation. Impressed with the taste and the quality of the product, everyone's level of preparation and commitment, retailers began to sign on. If any project has the potential to make it, said Harold Rudnick, the senior vice president of Vons, a Los Angeles-based supermarket chain, this one does. New products don't need a huge ad and sales campaigns to be considered winners. Excellence and service play a big role too. So these young bucks, these students, started to get help. But I think it's important to recognize that they had to get started first before the help came along. I think that's so important to recognize. Again, they began to get help, but the help didn't come until they got started. You understand what I'm saying? So this minority investment banking firm, this executive from another salad dressing space, they didn't start to come and help until the students they actually got started with their project. Everybody put it down, so get started. See, some of us we don't seem to get it. We're seeking help before we get started. And I want you to understand that you need to get started before you start asking for help. See, you in the process, or you in the journey of development, of creation, right? As you get moving, people see that you're serious about whatever it is that you're talking about. And now they're more apt to help because they see you working. And I'm more apt to help someone who's working than to help someone who's not working. Does that make sense? So you want to get started before you start asking for help. Don't start asking for help before you get started, but get started, and then you can start asking for help. 2 years of the week after the nation's costliest riots demoralized a country, seeds of hope had not only sprouted but began to blossom. Sweet Adelaide Enterprises, an area-based packer, began producing and shipping 12-ounce bottles of straight out of the garden, an all-natural and creamy Italian dressing to local stores. With each shipment came a new attitude. Never in our wildest dreams do we expect to have a corporate offices in 3 weeks and 2,000 bottles of salad dressing in 4 months, said Maurice McNeely, a founding student owner and member of the board of directors. With teamwork, dedication, and the right attitude, anything is possible. With teamwork, dedication, the right attitude, anything is possible. Let me say that again. With teamwork, stop trying to do everything by yourself. Dedication, are you serious about that which it is that you say you want to do? And the right attitude, anything is possible. His business partner, Keetrick Jenkins, agrees. Originally, I had not planned to go to college, but food from the hood is making a way. Over the course of the year, I've changed. The neighborhood has changed. I think we all have changed. What started as a small vegetable plot has now bloomed into a thriving business that wholesales salad dressing to more than 2,000 stores in Southern California, including Albertsons and Lucky, the 2 largest supermarket chains in the state. Today, the far-flung enterprise is expanding full bore, fueled by hard work and the need to make a contribution. With the launch of their first product behind them, the buzz around South Central office is changing. Now you hear talk of line extensions and brand management. Not exactly the hip-hop slang of your typical high school student. By all accounts, the business is on schedule to surpass $300,000 in sales, which will fund a bevy of scholarships. At last, 10 of the 15 seniors were accepted at 4-year institutions, a remarkable record for a predominantly Black inner-city public school where many never graduate. But more important than the money is the sense of accomplishment and the source of pride that has grown out of the students' involvement. We've shown that a group of inner-city kids can make a difference, says Crenshaw freshman Terry Smith, and their efforts have struck a nerve. They have received inquiries from across the country regarding additional opportunities. A New York high school has expressed a desire to franchise Crenshaw's logo and business plan with the hopes of producing applesauce. There's also talk regarding a much-needed mentor program as well as a college preparatory workshops. Clearly, these young men and women are leaving their mark. What was once an overgrown corner of an abandoned football field has now been transformed into a lush green learning center. It may not be history's biggest victory garden, but we cannot underestimate the size of the victory. We all try to help each other, Janelle Grayson confesses. And who should know better than she? As an A student throughout her high school career, Grayson never knew her father, and her mother has been incarcerated most of Janelle's life. Nonetheless, this motivated 18-year-old attends Boston's Babson College on academic scholarship. Food from the hood has transformed her life. What comes from that garden is inspiration, says one of the volunteers. It's not that these kids are special, it's that they wanted to do something special. It's not that these kids are special. It's just that they wanted to do something special. It is not that these kids are special. It's simply that they wanted to do something special. And that begs the question, do you want to do something special? Do you have a desire to do something special? Will you leave your mark? What's going on, Monica? Thanks so much for joining. How are you? Leave your mark. Now, I don't know about you, but it's a wonderful story about these kids from Crenshaw who developed a gardening business that sells a whole bunch of salad dressing called Food from the Hood. And as they got started, they started to get help. And as they received that help and used that help, they started to grow and expand. And that money, not even just the money, but the experience of the sense of accomplishment, I believe it helped them to understand that all things are really possible with teamwork, dedication, and hard work. They put in the effort, they started to get the results. People, young kids, high schoolers who had never thought about advanced education decided, oh, okay, I guess I'm going to think about going to college. And we're talking about Crenshaw back in the early 90s too. We're talking about a time when that was a space of just war and bloodshed, and not too many people aspiring to do great things. But after this riot took place, it was children, it was high schoolers who decided to do something special to help revitalize their community. And if they could do it, you and I can do it too. It's not that they were special, it's that they wanted to do something special. Will you do something special? Great question to ask. Will you do something special? But what will you do? Will you do something special? Something great? To be what you are and to become what you are capable of becoming is the secret to leaving your legacy. Let me repeat that again. To be what you are and to become what you are capable of becoming is the secret to leaving your legacy. This is the secret to your greatness. No one can cheat you out of an honorable life unless you cheat yourself. There can be no better resolution. An ancient parable illustrates this point. Centuries ago, there existed the tiny kingdoms of Phrygia. Its sole claim to fame rested on an antique wagon in one of the courtyards. The relic was fastened to a yoke by a sturdy hitch called the guardian knot. It was prophesied that whatever untied the knot would conquer the world. But for more than 100 years, the knot defied all efforts of kings and queens. One day, a newly crowned ruler, Alexander of Macedonia, journeyed to Phrygia to test his fate. At the appointed time, the courtyard was full of excitement and swarmed with curious, though skeptical, onlookers. All others had failed, so surely this test would be beyond the abilities of this young king. But Alexander would not be denied his true place in history. Armed with nothing but belief and the desire to take his true place among the world's greatest leaders, he drew a sword and sliced the knot in two. Many times, people search for solutions to their challenges outside of themselves. It is no secret that when confronted with difficulties, human nature will send us looking high and low, far and wide, for anyone who can solve our problems for us. When the average man or woman desires something great, he or she begins to look for others to help him or her acquire it. What we must recognize, however, is that what we need has already been given to us. Everybody put in comments, so what I need has already been given to me. What we need has already been given to us. What I need has already been given to me. The solution to every problem is at hand. We need only to cut the knot that binds us to our difficulties in order to experience our own individual greatness. Millions of people struggle all the days of their lives with no stronger urge than that of acquiring the necessities of life: food, shelter, and clothing. Now and then, someone will step out of the masses and demand of himself or herself and of the world more than a mere living. He is determined to leave a legacy, a solid faith in his mission, the rooted belief that this is the one thing to which he has been called. Look about you and you will see that the world's greatest are those who rose up and refused to be victimized by anything less than their destiny. This calling lured Hannibal to the Alps. This desire for something better impelled Dr. Carver to the laboratory. This urge drove Matthew Henson to the North Pole, induced Thurgood Marshall to the courts, and drew T.D. Jakes to the pulpit. Kwesi Mfume, former chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, was asked by a colleague why he chose to relinquish a safe seat in Congress to lead the struggling NAACP. To which Mfume quietly replied, "I learned at an early age that life is a short commodity. You have to do all you can when you can." I learned at an early age that life is a short commodity. You have to do all you can when you can. Life is a short commodity. You have to do all you can when you can. That really speaks to me, guys. I was thinking today about how I want you to think about this. Just this quote: "Do all I can when I can." I want you to think about the last time you remember that you used a day, you exhausted a day. In other words, this was a day where it was just like boom, boom, boom. You did everything you could. You squeezed every moment, every second that you could out of the day to do all that you can when you could. Like you literally used every drop of time to do all that you could. And as you think about the last time you remember doing that, giving one day your all, tell me, how did that feel when you went to bed at night? You exhausted your day. You couldn't have fit nothing else in. You literally used the whole day, the entire day. You gave that day your all. How did that feel? To use the entirety of a day, just one day, where you gave it your all. You gave it your all. You didn't take no plays off on that day. It was cooking. It was cooking. You kept looking like, man, can I fit this in? It just boom, 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 all day long. How'd that feel? To know that you exhausted a full day. You left no stone unturned. You gave it your all. Life is a short commodity. You have to do all you can when you can. Ronald McNair wrote, "Heart's whole heart was buried in the stars." As a mission specialist aboard the ill-fated Space Shuttle Challenger, McNair was a trailblazer who sought to extend the world's frontiers. "I can't think of anything else," he confessed. These will be the same stars that would devour him. These will be the same stars that would devour him. Now, notice he said, I can't think of anything else. The stars were on his mind. Mr. Ronald McNair, right, the specialist aboard the Shuttle Challenger, all he dreamed about was the new frontier, the stars. And those same stars will be the one to devour him. As we talked about Ronald McNair, we talked about Kwesi Mfume, T.D. Jakes, Matthew Henson, Dr. Carver, Thurgood Marshall. They all did something special. Will you? What will you do? Will you do something special? Will you do something great? You definitely have greatness in you, within you. You definitely have something special. There's something special about you. But will you do something with what you have been given and or gifted? What will you do? Will you do something special? Will you do something great? This is the New Black Wall Street Book Club, where Black folk do read. If you put it in a book like What Makes the Great Great by Mr. Dennis P. Kimbro, if you put it in a book like Daily Motivations for African American Success by Mr. Dennis P. Kimbro, we absolutely will find it. I'm your host, ERGJ, your certified financial educator, and we invite you to not only pick up the book, The Black Billionaires Club, which is the book that I wrote, but we also want you to go ahead and check out the website. And when you get to the website, go check out a tab called Join the Club. There we do have a club. It's called the Black Billionaires Club, where we have brothers and sisters who come together to help in 4 key areas in life. Number 1, personal development, to help us become the best versions of ourselves that we can be. We work together on that. Number 2, business development, to help the entrepreneur start that business this year, or to help the current business owner to expand or to scale what they're currently doing. We do that together. Financial education is third up, where we teach each other about this thing called money. See, we stopped complaining about what the public school education system is not doing. We decided to do it for each other. And then number 4, investment education. We have started an investment club. We got over 30 members in that club. We pulled over $10,000 together in that club, and you can become eligible as we look to expand that club come the new year. But we teach each other, right, how to make our money work harder for us than we work for it. Business development, personal development, financial education, and investment education. If any one of those 4 areas you're saying, now, I've been looking for something like that, well, we invite you to check out the Black Billionaires Club at www.theblackbillionairesclub.com, www.theblackbillionairesclub.com. You'll find that link in the description above or below. And remember, guys, our next book is going to be Black Fortunes, okay? Black Fortunes coming up next as we are getting done with What Makes the Great Great within the next 2 weeks. Well, my beautiful people, kings and queens, brothers and sisters, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. And I want you to remember this, that it takes a village. It starts with us. Let's build as we climb together. We all we got, people. Matter of fact, we all we need. And thank God, that's more than enough. Until next episode, you know what time it is. Mr. DJ, hit the music.
New black. It's the New Black Wall Street Book Club. Wall Street. With your host, Evan Jefferson. It's time for us to go. Yeah. Now, you ain't got to leave the computer, but we encourage you to get out there and learn and apply all the things you learn at the New Black Wall Street Book Club. All the things you learn at the New Black Wall Street Book Club. The New Black Wall Street Book Club.